Auto. Das Geschäft. Das Geschäft. Der Bus.
Das is auf Polish.
Das is auf Polish. Looks good. Oh yeah, let me get it open. This is in Polish. This is auf Polish.
See der Sofa.
See der Sofa. Might be stuck in the room there. Hand here.
저는 재미없는 책
Asachkinder zijn een affenbaas.
Sach. Kinder zijn Eufen on the bus.
Asachkinder zijn een affenbaas.
The children zijn auf dem bus.
Asachkinder zijn een affenbaas.
Auf dem bus. The children on the bus. Asachkinder
Asachkinder zijn een affenbaas.
zijn auf dem
Asachkinder zijn een affenbaas.
bus.
Ik ga affenbaas.
Ich gehe auf den Bus. I'm going onto the bus.
Gai.
I go on the bus.
Voor was läufst du nicht daheim?
Für was läufst du nicht daheim?
Voor was läufst du nicht daheim?
Daheim. Für was läufst du nicht daheim? Why don't you run home? Nein. Is that it? No. Nein? Yeah.
Nein.
Ich fahr kein Russland. Nein, ich fahr kein
Ich kann
I don't travel to Russia. I am going to. Oh, there's no. Kann is something I don't really.
kann
To. Preposition word. It looks like the negative.
kann
I guess that's just an accidental same sounding pair. So it reminds me of gegen as far as its meaning. Preposition to. Yeah, contraction of gegen says probably to provide. So, wenn's gegen. By literary German gen. Look up the German language. Look at this word. Gen or get, long or short, with elision of intervocalic g. Doublet German gegen. Gehen with accusative. Gehen Norden, gehen Abend. Yeah.
Voerst ik kan beginnen?
Fursti kan henna. Are you going to China? Fursti kan henna.
Voerst die heim auf dem Bus?
Fursti aheim auf dem Bus. Let's bank it. Fursti. Are you driving?
Voerst die
Aheim.
heim.
Laufen.
Voerst die heim auf dem Bus?
There it is. Offen. Okay, so to the diphthong FN.
Offen.
Offen. Sounds like a monophthong now.
Voerst die heim auf dem Bus? Bus.
Somebody wants in.
Der Boss is du.
Der Boss ist du. The bus is here. Der Boss ist du.
Der Boss is du.
So the pronunciation of the vowel in bus is interesting. It's written with the letter vav, but I think the form is from English. The bus is here.
Ich geh nicht zu mein Zimmer.
Ich gehe nicht zu mein Zimmer. I'm gonna go to my room.
Das ist nicht auf Jiddisch.
This is nicht auf Yiddish. This is not in Yiddish.
Du kommst zu mein Haus.
Kommst zu mein Haus? Are you coming to my house?
Ich geh heim.
Geh aheim.
Zu welcher Frau?
Zu welcher Frau? To which woman?
Ich sing das auf Jiddisch.
Oh, we see there the dative singular feminine. Zu welcher Frau? Zu. Welcher. Ending here. Welch is the stem. Frau. Let's do this. That's German practice. This isn't German. Frau is a diphthong, I think. So the whole phrase, it's a prepositional phrase with the noun governed by zu, zi, in the dative case. Dative, singular, feminine. It's not relevant to zi. It's a consequence of zi. This noun phrase is governed by the preposition. Its case is determined by it being in the phrase with this word, zi, meaning toward. So the grammatical category is marked in this noun phrase, and marking is really done by this ending on the determiner. To which woman, that's word for word. Which is related. The welcher reflects a Germanic qualik compound, meaning like what? Qualikas. So just for fun, as Indo-Europeanists, let's get in the habit, whenever we see dative singular, let's think of the Sanskrit basic morpheme there. It's a suffix ni. In some sense, Panini would have regarded this, would have derived this R ending here from his ni dative singular, with a feminine replacement and so on.
Ich sing das auf Jiddisch.
Ich sing das auf Yiddish.
Ich sing das auf Jiddisch.
Auf is still, I think that represents a diphthong oif. but it's now worn down to a monophthong.
zing das auf Yiddish.
And the double yud
Yiddish.
beginning represents a consonant rather than the vowel. Sing this in Yiddish. This one's going to be dative too, but there's no difference in any word form. It's no determiner present. It's in Yiddish. So it occurs to me now that really the reason the endings are preserved here is that it's worn down phrase final, the endings I mean, the old Indo-European noun endings were worn down because they were at the end of a phrase. Here on the determiner, it's not the end of a phrase. So you get survivals, longer survivals through history of endings here in Germanic languages. And zing,
Zing.
just like we do in English too, English and German, N-G double letter for an eng sound, single consonant. Das auf Yiddish.
zing das auf Yiddish. Ich fuhr kann nette.
Fuhr kann Litte. Go, good, leave us here. The whole Sanskrit chart in my notes. Can you tell me which letters are it markers? Excellent. When you say the whole Sanskrit chart, though, what do you mean? The alphabet? There, I mean, in the Shiva Sutras, I think it's obvious. You're probably not asking about that. Maybe one of the sets of endings? There's quite a few paradigms you have to memorize for Sanskrit. Nang lak. Happily. The cover term, the siglum, is soup. So let's say, what's up, soup? Okay, well, can you tell me, let's go row by row, the ones we've memorized, and we'll make sure, give me your best guesses. Put the it, the label letter, in capitals, if you would, please. Let's go nice and slow. Nominative triplet first, please. Note, by the way, the structure of this soup is interesting. And using the capital letters like this, so this soup means all case markers, the one I just put down. Basic set, 21. Whereas if we say su is phonic and p is the indicatory, that means locative singular. That's a specific one. Locative plural. Soup is locative plural. An indicatory vowel is going to be nasalized. Soup means the whole set, all 21. And then nominative singular is su. So soup is really from su to p. It's got those two indicatory letters, but one's at the beginning of the set and the other one is the closer, the ender. Su aorta jus. It is not aorta. The J is indicatory, that is true. Apostrophe for retroflex. Good, yeah, a good idea. Good compromise. Using apostrophe there for the subscript dot, and you're missing one in the very singular one, as you can probably glean from the chat now. Ich zog. What's this?
Ich fuhr kann nette.
Okay, F and S, they're confused. Fuhr kann Litte.
Lette.
Do we ever get double consonant letters in Yiddish? It sounds like if it were the same form in German, it would be written with a double T to show short I.
Ich fuhr kann nette.
Drove to Lithuania. So, just is correct. The other two not correct. Soup. No, soup is locative plural. And it's not out. It's neither out nor out. Nein, ich ga voor. There it is again. So written as if it were for, but with a raised vowel, voor. Oh, you might have a drag chain of vowel shifts there, if it's voor. Voor, ken, Rusland. No, I drove to Russia. Going to. Far. Subtle difference there. Is it spelled with vav in the past? Nein, ich voor kan Rusland. No, I am going to. It is not soup. Au just. There's still a mix-up. Au and just are correct. Correctly annotated. Su, au, just. But one of the sounds in su is a label letter. It is this. Su. So the tradition says you're supposed to nasalize those indicatory vowels to tell them apart. I'm told that most pundits do not, but let's try to do it to help us remember, so we can have it in our ears as well as in our eyes, the shapes of the letters. Just one more thing for the brain to hold on to, and then we'll put the melody of the chant to it. Let that all help us. Oh, just. So please give us accusative next, now that we have established row 1. The U and the J are indicatory, are label letters. Called it. Let's look at that word in Devanagari. And I just realized something too. I did a little more checking on Lexilogos. We've got 2 Sanskrit keyboards. The Uttara, meaning northern. There's that Ut again. UD is the directional root, the Upasarga. And Udata means raised, but in this sense, no, Uttara rather, not Udata. That's a grammar term, among other things. This Uttara means higher, basically, but in geographical sense, north. The script slightly different. So it's got this, which you might see in older printed works in local libraries, works of Sanskrit. This form for the initial letter A, which is kind of cool. So I wanted us to see the word it. It's a grammatical term. It's in Painini's grammar. What we're using capital letters here for is these it markers, to which the sutras will refer. Su, au, just. Then let's hear the recitation once we've recalled it correctly. Meanwhile, and let me say, welcome back to Language Institute. I'm your verb ally. We just saw some Yiddish. Let's continue there. And we're talking a bit about Painini's grammar too as we go.
Taiva.
Taiva. What's the dot telling us?
Taiva.
This looks like it's spelled in the Hebrew style. What is Taiva? I really wish it would tell us that as it's introducing the new words to us. So I believe in Hebrew writing, the nukta, the dot there for the letter, tells you that it's doubled. Etymology from Hebrew. Oh, it's going to be right here. Oh, how cool! Speaking of Egyptian. Tabut. Tabut. Arabic tabut, ultimately from a merger, one of those cross-language compounds of Egyptian, maybe emphatic D, B, and then it looks like a pharyngeal consonant of some kind, and a T. Sarcophagus. Coffin. Sarcophagus. Ortshus. Well, yeah, if you're using S, okay, there, let's be really clear. We've got the 4 fricatives. For myself, I'm not saying you need to do this, but what I like is, in alphabetical order, sh, sa, ha. Sh, sa, ha, in the traditional alphabet order. So $ for the palatal, because that represents the thing on top of the S in the standard transliteration, capital for retroflex. But since you said you're using the apostrophe for retroflex as an art, just be clear that for accusative plural, it's a palatal. The is all sound. There's no it marker. Aurt, the T is indicatory. There is no retroflex stop in a grammatical ending in Sanskrit. So any retroflexes you see are grammarian's marks. Aurt, and the shus, the palatal fricative, is indicatory. Those two, d and sh. So to review, first row u and j, second row d and sh. What are the instrumental forms we've seen? Prathama vibhakti, dvitiya vibhakti, and tritiya vibhakti. Those, now we're getting to third case. The crossed out P shapes. Crossed out P shape. Okay, good question. I get it now, yeah. This one is retroflex. Crossed out P, if you will. The letter P in Devanagari looks like that. Yes, pretroflex, however you want to associate those. And the palatal one looks like the number 21 to me. So many systems use a Z, but this does not. How are we getting a sh? Palatal 21. I don't know, P2. So it's unfortunate that palatal with a P does not look like the P. It's one of those counterintuitive things. Maybe let's look at the Tibetan cognate shapes, because why not? Right. Classical Tibetan didn't have a retroflex fricative, but they would write it in Sanskrit terms. This is the, okay, so the sign, I don't know which of those two Devanagari ones it's cognate with. I guess it looks more like the retroflex sh sign. This is a Tibetan palatal sh for the retroflex in borrowed forms. They write it really small. These letters, they just reverse it. They turn it the other way. Sh is like this. So palatal, this is the alphabetical order too in Sanskrit. Palatal sh and retroflex s. And that's what it converts from. But here we're dealing with so let me put them in the alphabetical order. Sh, sh, s, h are the fricatives. Oops. So no it on this accusative line. There are two, not it, but it. There are two it, my capitals. Nominative its are oo and. Should I get the mic? Is there a sound issue? I'm happy to. Nominative oo, j in the top row. In accusative, there's two. Aorta, sh, shus. So there, as I said, there are no retroflexes. There are no, I think, in inflectional morphology in Sanskrit, this, as distinct from roots, no, underlyingly there's no retroflexes. No, certainly no retroflex stops. And no palatals. We have palatal root. Palatals in roots. In fact, in section 1.2, he gives us a rule to decode which signs are indicatory. Should we jump forward to it? Let us. Yes, let's do that. Maybe it's 1.3 actually. It's been so long since I looked at this. He gives us a few sutras so we can figure out which sounds are its. Which is it, basically, is what these sutras tell us. 1.3.16. Yeah, this is it.
इति द्वितीयः पादः
We just heard the end of the second pada, beginning of the third. 1-3.
अथ तृतीयः पादः भूवादयो धातवः उपदेशे जनुनासिक इत्
This one.
हलन्त्यं न विभक्तौ तुस्माः आदिर्ञिटुडवः शः प्रत्ययस्य चुटु लशक्वतद्धिते तस्य लोपः.
Okay, that was the section. So within those few seconds, he gives us all the rules to determine which consonants, which letters in these mnemonics are it. Da, pyam, pis. Very close. The reflex initial is indicatory. So just one for this row. Da, pyam, pyas. Pis, sorry. Pis for this case, form for third. Da, pyam, pis. What is it for? Fourth case, dative. Chaturthi vibhakti.
न विभक्तौ तुस्मानादयो धातवः.
Very first sutra in this section, here, 1-3-1. Bhuvadayo dhatavaha means the set of morphemes that was in a separate list, beginning with bhu, to be, become, are called dhatavaha roots, verb roots. Upadeshe janunasika it. There's been a few deletions at word boundaries. What it means is, in the language of instruction, upadeshe, aj anunasika it. Segments which are aj, so that means ach, vowels, anunasika, ananunasika, ajanunasika it. Wait.
उपदेशे जनुनासिक इत्.
Aj anu na. No, it is nasal, not negative. Vowels which are nasal are it. Are indicatory letters. There's that word, nominative singular at the end.
हलन्त्यं.
Antyam, 2 words written together, means a final consonant. The it from the preceding sutra is understood to repeat. In the language of instruction, a final consonant is it, which we can already think of exceptions to, right? In su, nge, pyam, pyas, sadhu. The eng is indicatory. What is the fifth case? Panchama vibhakti. I should say, what is it and what are the 3 markers? Halantyam. We're going to get exceptions to that. Accusative singular, has a final consonant, but he's going to tell us that it's not that one. Na vibhaktau tusmaha. This is one of his beautiful grammatical dvandlas. The final word, tu smaha, is how I would break it down. Tu means the, the, na. Those 5 consonants. Sa means the consonant S. Ma means the consonant M. The final ending is nominative plural. So the morphemes which... Okay, the exceptions to final consonant is if it's dental, if it is S, or if it is M. So the of accusative singular is hereby exempted. It is not it.
न विभक्तौ तुस्माः.
Vibhaktau is locative singular. Not in a case ending these sounds, these phonemes. The 5 dentals, S, M. This answers the question, how does he refer to sets of sounds? Or no, not that, but single sounds. He refers to sets using the Maheshwara Sutrani and these abbreviations like tu to mean all 5 of the stops in the chart, in the basic alphabet.
शक्तौ तुस्माः. आदिर्ञिटुडवः.
Adir means adihi, in the beginning. Nyi tu davaha means... Now, nyi, I forget what that means. Nyi, anyways, palatal. Tu is the retroflex. And davaha is the form you get when you pluralize the word da. What is do? So it's a da is a graded form. Ni, tu, do. There I need to refresh myself on the meaning for do and do.
शः प्रत्ययस्य
But this next one, shaf pratyayasya, means the retroflex sha is it if it's in a morpheme. I think in an affix, suffix. Chutu. Next sutra.
चुटु
Means chu and tu. Means palatal and retroflex stops. These letters are it always. So the first one, tusmaha, that's an exception, but then yidu dawaha. Oh, those are I miswrote them. Those are prefixes. Disregard the spelling there in that one, but that's the breakdown.
लसक्वतद्धिते
La sha ku atadhite. Combination, the consonant la, sha. So here he means the consonant. Sha palatal. Ku means the velar series. Atadhite, unless it's in a certain class of morphemes.
तस्य लोपः
The final sutra here in this section, tasya lopaha, means it will be deleted. It will not be pronounced in the final word form. Its deletion takes place, I think, is what the meaning is there. To jump ahead a little bit, alright, we got the endings nge pyam pyas, panchami, sort of simplified transmission. Panchami will be with a palatal N. Let me just put it in Devanagari to make it pretty, but it's right here. And we'll listen from the beginning.
येनाक्षरसमाम्नायमधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः येन धौता गिरः पुंसां विमलैः शब्दवारिभिः तमश्चाज्ञानजं भिन्नं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयम् ऐउण रुद्रक एवों ऐऔज हयवरट लण ञमगणनम झभय घढधश जबगडदश ख फ छ ठ थ चटतव कपय शशसर हल इति माहेश्वराणि सूत्राणि अथ प्रथमोऽध्यायः प्रथमः पादः वृद्धिरादैच अदेङ्गुणः इको गुणवृद्धि न धातुलोप आर्धधातुके इति च दीधिवेवीटाम् हलोऽनन्तराः संयोगः मुखनासिकावचनोऽनुनासिकः तुल्यास्य प्रयत्नं सवर्णं नाज्झलौ ईदूदेद्विवचनं प्रगृह्यम् अदसोमात्.
That's where we left off. So before we jump into today's new sutra, can you transliterate that one? Panchami vibhaktihi, and note we've got a new cluster to learn because this regional alphabet writes that cluster a little differently. Oh, look at the beautiful retroflex na too. Anyway, while you're doing that, on with Yiddish. The Schiff changed gender, but back to its Indo-European ways, being feminine. This would be der Billet, the ticket. Der Postamt. Now here, the dot tells us it's a P, not an F, I think. Postamt.
Teretz.
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 Teretz, with the fronted U to I.
Das Haus, sie ihrs.
Tsi irs. This house, is it hers? With the Slavic word tsi, I believe. This house, or, oh, tsi was or. Not is it.
Ihr Haus is alt.
Ihr house is old.
Taiva.
Panchami, close. Vibhaktihi, fifth case ablative. The rest is correct. One little detail in the ordinal. Panchami vibhaktihi. So for this one, it's convenient to look for just sukting. Two sets of basic affixes.
Suaujas, autshas, tabhyambhis, gebhyambhyas,
Nasibhyamphas. The NC. Well, here we've got a. Well, you were able to decipher it nonetheless. What about in the? Are you talking about? How's this? Note how they sort of bend away from each other. Normally the ch is nice and level in that onset. Here it's giving way. Panchami. Does that help? Now the endings are ngasibhyamphas. Ngasibhyamphas. Note this person is using anuswara, but for naming morphemes, it's also common to write really in phrase final position. Here it's not phrase final though. Those are the dual ones. So then the middle of each sutra. Yeah, he's got, okay, that makes sense. Final M like this, here not the anuswara, but here in the middle, it's just the single dot above shows nasalization. This is kind of a compromise between the standard sandhi and enya palatal panchami, but still one detail is missing there. That is not what I had in mind. But it is a palatal enya. It could only be that. You can't get a sequence, at least not in a surface form, not in an actually occurring word, of a dental N and a palatal cha. Their assimilation has to happen. They've got to be home organic.
Nasibhyamphas, tabhyambhis, suaujas, autshas, tabhyambhis, gebhyambhyas, nasibhyamphas, ngaso.
It's not panchami, it's panchami.
Sie ist auf der Schiff.
Sie ist auf der Schiff, feminine. Der is also nominative singular masculine. It is more than that, it is also the dative singular feminine. Of course, short it would be on the other side. Panchami vibhaktihi. That's right. That's the feminine form of this ordinal number takes an e suffix. We've seen some variation there. Prathama, long a, signals feminine. Dvitiya vibhakti. Tritiya, chaturthi, panchami. However, it's shown by an e. Vibhaktihi, nominative singular. And so please transliterate. Nasibhyamphas. Wait, is that the left? Yeah. Nasi. I'll leave it there. This part. Nasibhyamphas. Sie ist auf der Schiff. She is on the boat.
Wie soll fließt die? Wie soll fließt die? Wie soll fließt die? Azoi.
Azoi. Fließt die. Wie azoi.
Azoi.
How like that? Wie azoi.
Wie.
How do you fly? Fließt die.
Wie soll fließt die?
What do you think? What's happened here in this word? Fließt die. That's a fusion. Well, it's hard to really draw a boundary because the pronoun would be die. The verb ends with a T, so the T really represents those two colliding, but it means do you fly. And wie azoi for how. That's really cool. The G, yep, the cluster there has been simplified. Nasi piam, yes, exactly right. This is fifth, exactly. Held a message. Nasi piam pies was withheld. For a second, it looks like. Didn't quite know what to make of it. Too dangerous. Alright, so we're 5 steps of 7 to having all the case endings. How do you fly? Let's do one more here and then go to the sutra for today. So back step a bit. Yeah, let's hear.
ईदूदेद् विवचनं प्रगृह्यम्
Pragurhyam refers to a case ending that doesn't undergo the usual sound changes. That's all we need to know for now. Won't be too relevant anytime soon.
Osam.
अदसोमात्
Adasomat. Adasomat. Here I don't recall quite. Here is the sutra. Please transcribe this. It is Adasomat 1112.
Suaujas am autshas tabhyambhis ngebhyambhyas ngasibhyambhyas ngasosam ngeosup. Suaujas am autshas tabhyambhis ngebhyambhyas ngasibhyambhyas ngasosam ngeosup.
Alright, shu.
Fa.
So close.
Shu.
In.
Teret.
Oops.
Teret.
Taiva.
These are spelled in the Hebrew style.
Fa.
Welcher man is Irid?
Belcher. This one is noun singular, and the ending survives phrase medially. Welcher man. The ending. My point is the ending of man, the noun, in Germanic would have been mannas. Hualikas mannas.
Is.
This phrase. Welcher man. Give it a nice, as if there was a written language. Won't worry too much about the vowel length here. Hualikas mannas. So my feeling is that you get the ending preserved because it's in the middle of a phrase. The dropping of the ending was really a phrase final phenomenon. So in articles and this determiner, like this pronoun, you get a greater variety of endings. You do have some endings in nouns, but it's much reduced from the proto-language. I think they would have been homophonous endings once upon a time, 2,000-3,000 years ago.
Welcher man is Irid?
Which man is hers? Which husband is hers? Effective in Welsh. In a Welshy mood, we shall make it so. Excellent choice. My favorite abbreviation. Let's use endonym.
Welke man is Edith?
Which husband is hers? Such a weird way to phrase that. Maybe.
Vliet aheim.
Fleet. Here too. Aheim. Might have heard a kta. Note the prepositional a prefix.
Vliet aheim.
Shoe is spelled
Shoe.
See your transliteration. Ah. The M letter, I missed it until just now. Not bradaso. This is due to the font. Bra in this uttara style would look like this. I don't like that X there too much. Okay, problems. Oops. Ha. Versus bra would look like this. There we go. Don't have that dopey X floating in the way. So this is an initial this first one. Hiragana mi, yes. The Tibetan one perhaps even more so. And here it is with vowel E. Very close to the Japanese mi, kana. Tell. Place name, Tel Aviv. Broit.
Broit.
B-R-O-I. Diphthong.
Ba.
And teritz. So tirutz.
Teretz.
Leveling of the vowels.
Is het oog of the chef?
Is er oog of the chief?
Is het oog of the chef?
Oog is a nice Germanic compound. Let's see here. Oog. German Aug. Germanic. Something like auque, with the hue like que from Latin. So univerbation, fusion into a single word form there. His chair. Is he also on the ship? Up something, not up up. Is he also on the ship? Does the fuse, it looks like bra, I don't understand what you mean by fuse, plus those two other lines, which I am assuming is another letter. Well, I guess to help you out, let's go to the more familiar Sanskrit font. Don't want to throw too many wrenches at you. Here's how we're more used to seeing it. This is the Sutra 1113, wasn't it? 1112. So the last ones that we had, last few, Tulyasya Prayatnam Savarnam, things made with the same effort, are homorganic, Naj halal, but not between vowels and consonants. Idu de dvivachanam pragrhyam. The term pragrhya embraces dual noun final e, u, a, about those three endings. Exemption from certain sandhi changes. And now adaso mat. Let's turn to my new best friend on anani.com. 1112. Adaso means after adas. Mat. Wait, adaso. Mat means after a ma. Ablative case. Ami is pragrhya. Oh, that was the last one, I think. Adas means those. Just plural, not dual. This is about the exception. Okay, ami Pragrhyam. Adaso. Exactly. That shape at the front is yes. That one looking like an eagle wing. I quite like it. So the stem adas, the o ending there is just an allophone. Sort of. That's not quite the right term because it's these two phonemes together. Before a voiced sound becomes o. The mat means those. So we say ami ashwaha. Adasomat. Oh, okay. I can't make sense of the original sutra. You translated freely? Okay. It's hard, but I get it now. It pops into place. There is a stem, a pronoun stem, adas, meaning that, those. Which means the I, U, A of the word adas, of the whole paradigm, is denoted as pragrhya, meaning exempt to the certain changes, when it is after an M sound. That's what's up. After the phoneme N. So adaso means adas, that's the name of a morpheme. So this is ablative, I think. Kind of guessing. In the form of in the other font was confusing. Looks like PR, yes indeed. Well, it's the same basic, just to draw the connection. Here it looks like a 3, right? And if you take that sort of 3 figure and rotate it and then extend the roof above, you'll get this shape. It's just slightly rotated from the same original shape. Yeah, it looks like a tr cluster before a pr, kind of, onto a basic P shape. This is the in the Northern script. It's not quite as dramatic as the change between your basic Roman and the black letter. What does it call it? Fraktur. Oh, GE. Yikes. Zoom up a teeny bit out. No. Help. Not taking me there right now. Latvian Fraktur? German Fraktur. Right? This is an A. Here is a T. I think so. This adaso means, I think it's the ablative ending. After the stem adas and then mat, this has got to be ablative singular. Means after M. Phoneme M. In the stem adas after an M sound. So not every form has an M, some do. In the case of those forms. So this sutra really only applies to just a handful of word forms. He tries to express things as these substitution and designation, these rules, meta rules, whenever he can. So we'll leave it there for today, at least for now. Oh, let's listen to the verb endings then. The Fraktur looks like 21.
Mas Tip das Jhis.
These are the verb endings. Let's just listen and let them glide off. Remember that it's third person, second, first as we go top to bottom. Left side of the chart here.
Tip Bahimahing. Suaunio Sup. Tip das Jhisip tas tha mipvasmas ta tam jha tha satham dahvam itvahimahing.
Now, the 9 on the left are the active endings. The ones on the right are mediopassive. Some indicatory ones here. The P in all the first person ones. Tip. Sorry, the singular. Tip, sip, mip. P is never sounded in an actual word. Those delete. And then these are the medial endings, like we said. Irta, the final retroflex is it, and so is the final eng.
Seinen ihre Chavarim du?
Just for a quick cross-linguistic comparison there, think of M as in sum in Latin, S est. Here we've got the T like an est. The sip means C as an S for the second person, and sum has M as in this mip. That's all Indo-European.
Seinen ihre Chavarim du?
Zinnen,
Seinen
ira,
ihre. Seinen ihre Chavarim du?
Chavairim,
Chavarim.
plural Hebrew noun, du.
Du.
Oh, friends. Are her friends here?
Favos fließt nicht zu den Vereinigten Staaten?
Vervos fließt nicht? Side,
Favos fließt nicht zu den Vereinigten Staaten?
Side Vereinigte Staaten. So the old E has lowered to in D, and the old U of zu has become si.
Nicht.
Favos fließt nicht zu den Vereinigten Staaten?
Si here. E versus Si de Vereinigte.
Favos fließt nicht zu den Vereinigten Staaten?
With a stop K. Vereinigte Staaten. Why aren't you flying? To the United States.
Of der Chef.
Of their chef.
Of der Chef.
Schiff on the boat.
Die Schiff ist alt.
Die Schiff is alt.
Das Haus zu ihrs.
Sie ihrs. Sie, oh, this house or hers is. Sie for or, which I think is Polish or some Slavic word. Okay, and on to the next language now. Cymraeg, Welsh. Oh, nice. 22. Looking for a dragon flag for Welsh. Dialects.
Bachgen ysgol yw e.
Oh, maybe that's what's up with these different copular forms. Or regional variants. Bachgen ysgol.
Bachgen ysgol yw e.
Ew, I think this is he.
Bachgen.
Oh. So a little bit like buachal. Bachgen, a boy of school.
Ysgol.
Is he. And look at this. If we read it backwards, he is.
Yw. Ysgol. Bachgen.
We get a nice English. Roughly. Boy school is he. So, ew, does this verb, does it reflect esti?
Pwy ydi o?
Pui edio? Where? Who?
O.
Is he. So just now it was a for he, now o. This could be a dialect thing. Who is he? Pui edio, or maybe it's dissimilating from the high vowel.
Pwy ydi o? Dynes. Dynes.
From the but didn't man person feminine, a feminine person. Dennis. Denisai plural. Dennis, Venice, Ninnis are the forms. And Benu. Oh, this looks like ban, mra here. The old Celtic word, the old Indo-European one. Gwnach for woman.
Dynes ydy'r meddyg. Dynes ydy collnoder.
Meddyg.
Meddyg.
Dennis, woman. B, the doctor. So that word order, what's the intended meaning?
Dynes ydy'r meddyg.
Is the woman a doctor? Is the doctor a woman? So let's make a note of this. It's extremely interesting and intricate. Dennis is one noun phrase. Woman. Ede with a question, I think proclitic fused onto the verb there. Be, and then noun phrase medic, the doctor. Medic, rather. Of course, from Latin medicus. So that shows us how the single D intervocalically and the single K sound, medicum, right? Medicus in Latin. Where to put this? Medicus or medicus? I'm not sure about the vowel length. That would be interesting too. I think the root for this one was med. Latin pronunciation, medicus, medicus. Classical, short, ecclesiastical at lengthen because it's in an open syllable. Dicus, medicus. So the single D, much as in Spanish, became the, vida, medic. And this G is how it's written, but it's really a voiceless stop still, so not really any change there, just a spelling change.
Dynes ydy'r meddyg.
Medic. But the old stop has become a voiced fricative.
Pwy ydy hi?
Pwy ydy hi? Who is she? He, just like in Irish. And I guess this would be ata, Eddie.
Pwy ydy hi?
You see the difference? Do you know another name, Levi, for the Celtic, in the surviving Celtic languages? A two-way split. One pair of terms is Goidelic versus Brythonic. Do you know another way that these two branches are named? It's based on a sound correspondence.
Pwy.
Pwy ydy hi. Exactly. P Celtic and Q Celtic. Can you tell us which is which? Pwy. Pwy ydy hi? Who is she? Now in this one, interestingly, the word order aligns exactly with English. Who, be, so question pronoun, verb pronoun, subject pronoun. Who is she? Oh yeah, so with this, I should have jotted down the sentence free translation for this one. Is the woman a doctor, or is she... is the woman a doctor, or is the doctor a woman? I think it's that one, because the final noun phrase is definite. Is the, and medic, doctor. Is the doctor. And so, to be a woman is the copula. That's why Dennis is out front with it. This is the verb phrase. Here it's contiguous, uninterrupted, and in the subject noun phrase, nice, cleanly separated here. I hope. I should have noted that though. Shame on me.
Pwy yw hi? Y ferch yn y car?
Brythonic are the P. Look at the number exactly. Very good case. Also, this word pwy meaning who shows us. This is from a quiz of Indo-European. Celtic. Qui or quay or something. Versus ka, I think, is Irish for who. But excellent example there. The number 4 preserves it. Cather, and pedwar. Pimp also. What's Irish for 5? Coic?
Pwy.
Pwy.
Pwy yw hi? Y ferch yn y car?
So it's who is she? The
Ferch.
Okay, girl in the car. The girl in the car, who is she? Who is the girl in the car? I wonder if this is what they want. I think this is not really how standard English would say it, though. I think it means, who is the girl in the car? But you'd need this pronoun there. Hard to really take just from Duolingo. That's my suspicion about this. Which reminds me of that Irish construction with the double subject. Clique. Why is it Q, though? None of the Goidelic languages write it with a Q. They use a C. Okay, but I think in Agam, the word for sun was written like this. Makus. It's just, right, we don't... Why is it Q? Q, yeah, there was a Q in older writings of Celtic languages. Is, I guess, the simplest answer to your question. Why is it called? Because C doesn't really make sense, I think. Q was just associated with things like Latin quisquem, with the labiovelar. What a fair question. Why isn't it C Celtic?
Du megan ddim.
Uma is like Japanese ima, but it means this place. It's here. Be Megan, not here. This is extremely interesting word order too. So let's hold on to this one. Do megan, that's verbal. Megan the subject. Now them is the negator. Uma. Is it forming a phrase with uma? Not sure. Megan is not here. That's my suspicion, that it's negating the word, whatever follows, not here. Actually, like English too, just verb first in Celtic, if it's a declarative.
Menyw yw Morgan, dim bachgen.
Menyw yw Morgan, dim bachgen. Menyw woman?
Menyw.
So ban, with mutation, apparently reanalyzed. Megan is Morgan, rather. Morgan. Here we'll read backwards. Morgan is woman.
Menyw.
Then
Dim.
boy. And note here it's dim.
Morgan.
Dim. That seems significant. Does that tell us that them is in the same phrase as mekan? Or what's going on in this previous sentence that we saw? Morgan is a woman, not a boy. A woman, Dennis.
Owen yw e.
He is Owen, read backwards. Right.
Owen.
Yeah, Owen, ew. The reason Owen can precede the verb is that it's
Ew.
It's there with the copula in the predicate. And the subject is verb it's really verb phrase in it.
Owen.
To be Owen, he.
Dyw'r ferch ddim yn hoffi'r bachgen.
Ferch was boy, girl.
Ferch.
And the definite article is, so to be the girl not liking the boy. The girl doesn't like. Interesting sentences all. Let's get this one. Do verb, and then contracted noun phrase there. Verch, the girl. Them. And here there's a few ways we could analyze it. I think, is basically a preposition. We say in the liking of the boy. Start a new line. So, because it's still really verby though, let's put it with my angled brackets, the V-shaped ones for a verb phrase. Hoffe, with regards to the head verb, and then within that the object noun phrase. Urbachken. Is the girl not in liking the boy? Word for word.
Ydy hi eisiau afal?
And the meaning is the girl doesn't like the boy. Ydy hi eisiau afal. So it's a two-part verb. She is in the wanting. Does she want an apple? And note the cognate
Afal.
of English apple with a lenited V sound, written F. Since the maybe I don't know, how is the sound with it raining like this? Can you hear me without too much difficulty?
Dewilingo yw e.
I love the spelling here. Dewi Lingo.
Dewilingo yw e.
He is Dewi Lingo, meaning duo.
Hogan ysgol ydy hi.
Hogan, schoolgirl.
Hogan.
Hogan, a North Welsh
Hogan.
word for girl. Gives me a new perspective of Hulk Hogan. Let's see what else this might be connected to. An H might reflect an old S. Okay, good, thanks. Welsh etymology. Hogan, little girl. Oh, Cornish. From the older Huiogan. Baked pastry? No, that's not it. Pie. No, a girl's not a pie. Not mutable. Whoa, look at the plural form. The root or stem maybe would be just gen. With some sort of fused prefix maybe? Look at that odd alternation. Singular hogan, plural genut. Genut. She is a schoolgirl. And
Hogan.
word order, girl of school, that compound
Hogan.
in front of the predicate, in front of the copula. Because it's forming a unit with it inseparably, and then he, subject pronoun last. He meaning she.
Hogan ydy o.
Hogan ydy o, she is a girl. Hogan. This is a
Hogan.
different one. This is okay. So that one was girl, or with a vowel in syllable 2, whereas Hogan is a boy. So I'll use the common letter Y to associate those. Boy is he. Is she a girl? Hogan ydy hi. Merch also.
Merch.
Diw,
Dyw hi.
ew, he. Is this mutation then, I wonder? Some sort of irregular mutation, exceptional one. The new police officer is a woman. So it's woman be. That's the predicate. Menu.
Menyw. Yw.
The new police officer.
Posnod heddwa newydd.
With noun, adjective, word order. Menyw yw'r heddwas newydd. Menyw yw'r heddwas newydd. Isn't that cool? Is she a girl? So not a trivial task to construct these sentences in the correct phrasal order. Is she a girl? The she subject is going to be last. That's going to be girl, question form of the verb. Merch.
Merch. Yw.
You, he.
Hi.
That we just saw. Okay, it's very uncertain there. Is she a girl? Merch. Okay, and this merch is part of the verb phrase. So it's in two types of structure. Merch, noun, and the head verb ew, to be. Subject is he. Girl. These form a unit. That really kind of makes an intuitive sense. does she do the girl being? Great choice, Levi. Enjoying it immensely. Let's take a short break and listen to a nice paradigm of endings. Every time you hear the words, you make another copy in your brain. Every time you hear the words, you make another copy in your brain.
Suaujas, autshas, tabhyambhis, ngebhyambhyas, ngasibhyambhyas, ngasosam, ngiusup. Suaujas, autshas, tabhyambhis, ngebhyambhyas, ngasibhyambhyas, ngasosam, ngiusup. Suaujas, autshas, tabhyambhis, ngebhyambhyas, ngasibhyambhyas, ngasosam, ngiusup.
It's kind of nice that the whole left side of the paradigm, the last 4 rows, last half of it, all the lines start with a ng, which is totally un-Indo-European to do that. Da, pyam, pi. So retroflex there. Su and simple, uncontroversial enough, but then it gets really weird. Milk. Llefrith. I don't remember that.
Party.
Party.
Ysgol.
Ysgol.
Llefrith.
Llef. Long vowel. Llefrith.
Llefrith.
I wonder where the syllable boundary is.
Llefrith.
Oh, we also had llaeth from milk, I think, in earlier lessons. Which would probably be from Latin. Lactem.
Siwmai. Draig dŵ I.
Okay, so sh, sh. Shumai. Seems like
Siwmai.
hello. Hi. Draig du I. I don't know why they're not capital.
Draig.
It's the name dragon. To be dragon.
Draig.
I am a dragon. Shumai. Let's look this up. W denotes a vowel, phoneme of Welsh. Alternate form of shumai. This is more to be expected. Si. The word shop is borrowed and spelled shop, like that. Shumper is a sweater, a jumper. And chocolate. Generally see this SI vowel spelling for sh. So this seems to be an anglicization. And it's sitmehi. How is it? How cool. Shumai. Deletion of the H, deletion of the T. Sitmei. And interesting. Shumai.
Siwmai. Draig dŵ I.
Shumai. Draig du I.
Dach chi'n licio llefrith?
Dach chi'n licio llefrith? Do you like milk? So, all other early lessons had dich. I guess this is a dialect, a parallel dialect form. But the may part is Irish ma. Very nice. Good eye. Llefrith.
Smai. Megan dŵ I. Pwy da chi?
Pwy da chi? How are you? Smai. Hello. Megan du I. To be Megan, she is. Oh no, this E means I, not he, but E. I am Megan. Pwy da chi. This is like a ta, as far as the vowels too. I think the may have been original. Who are you? And other dialects, I don't know which is which. They're not telling us. Dich, they're telling us in the hints.
Ydy Morgan eisiau llaeth hefyd?
Dich spelled D-Y-C-H. Ydy Morgan eisiau llaeth, the other word for milk. Hefyd. Doesn't mean do you have it. Ydy Morgan eisiau llaeth. Llaeth. Doesn't she?
Hefyd.
Does Morgan want milk too? Ydy Morgan eisiau llaeth hefyd?
Ydy Morgan eisiau llaeth hefyd? Mae o'n licio coffi.
Mae o'n licio coffi. Mae on. Is this
Mae.
or
Mae.
E, and then with licio forms a compound tense. He likes coffee. Is he in the liking of coffee? So it's quite like the Welsh, the Irish word order. Letter E is the same for English and Welsh. I, first person. Nice.
Mae o'n licio'r ci.
Mae
Mae on licio collnod ci.
doesn't mean key, it means dog, like Scottish Gaelic coo. He likes the dog.
Dych chi'n licio mis Tachwedd?
The month of Tachwedd, November. Dych chi'n licio, do you like? So this is the other copy of the form for you. Maybe it's a number thing too. Could also be that. Do you like November? The month of Tachwedd.
Smai.
Smai to say hello.
Dydy o ddim yn licio yfed llefrith.
O, the pronoun he. Dydy o ddim yn licio yfed llefrith. Drinking. This one, if you'd seen the Sanskrit for to drink, he, she drinks in Sanskrit is pibati. And this yfed looks a lot like it. Yfed in Welsh. Drinking. A P, an initial P would have been lost in Celtic. But let's check on that. Could just be accidental. This may have a different source. Yep, there it is. Proto-Celtic fibati. So pibati in Sanskrit was an inflected present tense form. Maybe that's what this is too. It looks also a lot like a Slavic infinitive. Fibati. What's the value? Pipeti. So this gives very elegantly both the Celtic form and the Sanskrit. If the p laryngeal sequence yielded a b, because that's a reduplicated root. It's treated as an irregular one in Sanskrit, in Pawnee Sanskrit grammar. But pibba, the stem, is reduplicated from something like pech, pech, drink, drink. Fibati, fibu, fibasi, fibati. So here it's the tip, sip, and a different one instead of mip of Pawnee. Mu, we have mus, te, da, and what is it? Sip, tus, ta, the ta ending here. I'm so lost. Over here. Te and unti. Doesn't show up that way in the basic set. Fibi, fibet. Imperative forms. Fibomu, fibetis, fibont. Fibu, fibesi, fibeti. Fibomu, fibete, fibonti. Passive. Fibur, fibetar, fibetor. Interesting. Fibomor, fibedwe, fibontor. Brythonic ibid. Old Irish ibid. Gaulish ibitis. Cool. Be fun to study some Gaulish here sometime. Didio, he does not
Licio.
Licio, maybe taken from English. But the use of a compound tense like we have does like drinking, that's mirrored by Welsh here.
Dwi'n yfed llaeth.
Dwi'n yfed llaeth. Am I in the drinking of milk? Drink. I am drinking.
Smai, Megan. Dach chi'n mynd i'r sinema heno?
Smai Megan. Dach chi'n mynd i'r cinema heno? Heno is very nice. This night or this evening. Hi, Megan. Dach chi'n mynd, are you going? I'r cinema. Into the cinema. The movies. Cinema heno. This evening.
Siwmai. Morgan di chi?
Shumai. Morgan dych chi? Hello, are you Morgan?
Mae o'n yfed llefrith.
Llefrith. Mae o'n yfed llefrith. He is in the drinking of milk.
Smai. Dewi lingo.
Hi, Duolingo. Duolingo. Hi, Smai, Shmai.
Siwmai.
Megan, dwi.
Megan. Du. I.
Who are you? Pwy dych chi? Same word order.
Pwy dich chi?
So, note the repetition or the matching of the final consonant of B with the first consonant of the pronoun. Seems to be a regular feature. She does not want to buy any milk today. Okay. What are we going to put first? It's going to be verb, subject. So it's do, he,
Du. Hi.
and then everything else. Not in the liking. Vim,
Ddim.
licio. Vim, licio.
Licio.
Prynu is to buy.
Prynu.
Priamai in Greek. I think the Sanskrit cognate of prini is krinati, buys. This could have had a labiovelar. Let's look it up. Prini. Indo-European one, I mean. Prinat from Proto-Celtic qurinati. Not that. Celtic. And Indo-European qurinechti, quringenti. This verb has a nasal infix, and it's part of the stem now in that Welsh word, right? Just prini. Although I haven't seen any other forms of it. But these are all verbs meaning by. The last one with the labiovelar and H2 is Indo-European. Do he them licio prini? Milk, llaeth,
Llaeth.
heddiw.
Heddiw.
Like heno is tonight. Very close to the English. Heddiw is this day, today. Do he them eisiau, not like to, but want to. Eisiau, I always do that. Prynu llaeth heddiw is correct. She does not want to buy any milk today.
Do
he
he
them
ddim
eisiau.
eisiau
Doesn't use that preposition. Prynu
prynu llaeth
heddiw.
heddiw.
So heddiw, a lot like, very close to Latin hodie. I think it's the same components. German heute from Old High German hutagu, which may be like, I wonder what case that is. Hutagu. Hutagu in Germanic. Heodai. Old English had an H initial word for today. Hutagu. On this day. Uncertain. It's derived from Indo-European dago. Instrumental, yeah, Cool. So, getting back to our beloved basic soup case endings, we have Germanic, instrumental, singular, masculine, daro, from daraz, day. So, Levi, what would Panini call this O ending on daro? Which of his is it? Vocative, nominative, vocative, accusative, genitive, dative, instrumental. Basically the same set as Sanskrit, missing locative, ablative. But an instrumental was there. By the way, bis for this one. What does the O correspond to? How rewarding. Okay. Da, exactly. Isn't that lovely? That you have these correspondences across the eons, halfway across the world, too. Daraz is su. The Z is the suffix from S. Dar is nice, zero ending. We haven't learned the Sanskrit equivalent yet, but it's there. It exists. Accusative, daran, with a nasal vowel. What do you know? Genitive, we will see later for Sanskrit, but daraz, daris. Very classic Indo-European here. Dative, darai. This I is a different vowel grade, I think. But what is Panini's equivalent for the ending here? That's dative, singular, masculine. We already know it's masculine. And daro we talked about. So daros, plural, is just. Darans, this is shus. Daron, we will learn as genitive plural. Daramas, dative, is pius, with different, these could be cognate endings, M to B, reflecting old B. And daramiz, instrumental, this is bis. Pius here and pis are the equivalent ones. What's darana? That verb? To dawn. Look at that. Dawn. This is how dawn and day are related. Ngi, exactly. I is ngi. Actually, so the close and more exact correspondence to the I diphthong of Germanic is this dative singular masculine of buddha, buddhaya, which has a vertigrade. A is a gurna, but in this noun class we get vrdhi for the dative suffix. So to relax a little bit, let's go over to Korean. I find Celtic syntax really challenging. Interesting, but a little taxing on the old brain muscle. OV word order, much more familiar with, a lot of practice with.
저는 밥을 먹으면 행복해요.
In Korean, you have the wonderful clear marking of every noun phrase in the sentence. 저는, as for me, 빵을 먹으면, when or if I eat bread, 밥을, rather rice, 행복해요. When I eat rice, I'm happy. So what I mean is the aya, apparent ending, of the thematic class, the stem ended in an is the aya, that sequence there is a sort of replacement of ngi. That's how Panini treats that. The ya is really all it is. The a belongs to the stem, and ya is the replacement of ngi in buddhaya and darai.
그래서 저는 햄버거를 요리해요.
그래서 저는 햄버거를 요리해요. Cook a hamburger. 저는 그래서 then. So, then or so. Alrighty. As you wish.
나는 너를 보면 행복해.
나는 너를 보면 행복해. Be happy. 보면, when I see 너를, you. I'm happy when I see you.
그리고 그녀는 운동을 해요.
그리고 그녀는 운동을 해요. What do you want here?
그리고
And conjunctive. I think I've noted before, but my feeling is that the goal verb suffix, the gerundive, is related to the enclitic qua. I think qua is basic, and the G will unite between vowels and give wa. But really, if you look at the writing system, go and the gua of gua, they're written exactly the same. So maybe a final a particle added to a go to mean and. One conjoins verbs or clauses, and the other conjoins nouns. And 그녀는, she, that woman, 운동을 해요. She exercises, does sports.
그는 자면서 말합니다.
그는 자면서 말합니다. He 자면서, while after eating, 말합니다. He talks, or is it while?
자면서
Talks while sleeping. Not. I was thinking of a different language for cha. 먹다 is to eat. He 말합니다. He talks. That's the highest verb. 자면, while. 자면서, rather, while sleeping. If it says 운동 for exercise, has almost has rotational symmetry between the syllables. How cool. 운동. Do you know the hanja for that? 운동. Rotational symmetry. Oh, okay. The D and N being the, yeah. They would look nice stacked and inverted or something. They look nice side by side. Yeah, they look like a person doing a flip in a comic strip. Scene 1, standing upright. Here, heels overhead. 운동의 한자는 뭐예요? Or give me the CJ string, please. 한자를 몰라요. Yeah. 모르다 has the O vowel. 몰라요. I will show you. 윤. Fourth tone. 윤. It's got the Y enclosure. And then a B roof over a vehicle. BJJ. So it's YBJJ. 동. It has heavy on the left, which starts with an H stroke, ends in a G. KS for strength there for Li. 运动. So the car, if you squint, you see it there on the left. They both have car configurations as part of them. Let's simplify. Here, in the simplification, abbreviate the car-ish things are abbreviated to clouds. 原文, the original writing. 몰라요. 저를 몰라요. Five Korean verbs that all sound similar. Okay, lay them on me.
저는 먹고 마십니다.
Levi says, I have a list of 5 Korean verbs that all sound similar, and he wants help telling them apart. I hope I can. I hope I know them well enough. 저는, but I'm empowered with the dictionary. 먹고 마십니다. As for me, I eat and drink.
이 영화는 행복하고 슬퍼요. 이 영화는 행복하고 슬퍼요.
행복하고
이 영화는 행복하고 슬퍼요.
To ask, to be far. To not know, to bite. I don't remember bite. But to be thirsty. Ask is mutta, I think. Be far is mulda. Let me get this one first.
이 영화는 행복하고 슬퍼요.
Go. This is a verbal ha, so it's written on to hengbok. Sil, p, I think sil, like that, and then p, oh wait, silpa, yo. Silpayo, when you add the stem format.
이 영화는 행복하고 슬퍼요.
Yo is really a sentence file, not part of the verb, but written so. Oh, not there. 이 영화는, this movie, 행복하고 슬퍼요, is happy and sad.
이 영화는 행복하고 슬퍼요.
Happy and sad. 슬프다 for the root. Remove when we add the a suffix.
저는 집에 가서 잠을 자요.
저는 집에 가서 잠을 자요. I sleep when I go home. After I go home. I go home and sleep. Saw for sequential. Oh, I'm neglecting Levi's verbs. To ask. I believe so. A great dictionary just for Korean is naver.com. n.dict.naver.com. And I think mutta is ask. Oh, that's recent searches. Yeah, that's helpful of them too. Bury, ask, inquire. So my mnemonic for this is that the hanja all for ask is mun. We just change n to a d. We add one. Oh, that's not going to do it. A and R here, of course. Come on. Munko, that's nice. Yeah, we the same components, right? We're not going to get it. Anyway, this hanja mun means ask, and to get the Korean verb, we add a line to the niun, and we get a t for the root. Mutta. And I think this one is an invariant root. Mudayo. For that, Wiktionary is helpful. Or is it mudayo? Maybe it's mul. Maybe normally quite standardly. That's not the one we want. Weakens to a real. I forget. But I hope the mun hanja mnemonic works for the base form. Verb conjugation we will show. Mununda murotta for past. Muro. Okay, this one weakens. It lenites to real. So basic form for the root is spelled like mud. Allomorph mul if a vowel follows. Mut mul. To be far away is also mul. I can see the confusion, but that one is basically mul. Murayu. Mulda, if I recall correctly. Here my mnemonic is, did you ever see the X-Files? Agent Mulder in his beliefs and worldview was pretty far out. He was far away from normal. Pay for, be fine. This one means bite. This is what you were asking for. I may have confused. Or maybe they're just homophones? Bite, nip, chumble, fret. I don't know what chumble means, but I love it. Alright, not what we're after right now. Okay, mulda, bite. We're gonna bite Agent Mulder. We're gonna bite Agent Mulder. One for the ages. Mulda, bite. Mulda 1. Also pay for is mulda. So what is be far then? Molly. So maybe it's molda. This is it. Agent Molda, not Agent Mulda. Okay, you believe. I want to believe was his poster in his office. I want to believe that mnemonic. It's a fun show. Okay, so Molda is be far. We can also think of English remote with an O quality in the stressed tonic syllable. So it's going to be 멀어요. 물다 bite, 묻다 ask, 멀다 be far. Not know. This is my favorite verb class. It's nice and mysterious. 모르다 is the base, 모르 base form. And the inflected one, here I have to use LR. 몰라요. So I can't yet say certainly which of those 모르 or 몰, which of the 몰 double L is basic. My suspicion that it was L gamma cluster or something like that. And the gamma either vocalized between consonants, 모르 becoming 모르, da, just my best guess. And then if a vowel followed, the gamma assimilated to the preceding L. And we're missing one. Be thirsty. That one I think is literally throat is parched. Throat is dry. It's a two-parter. It has a subject, an inherent subject, maybe with optional marking, and then be dry and intransitive. But if we just search for thirsty here. 목이 마르다 looks like. 목이, that's the throat. Wrong place. 목이 마르 is my guess. 마르다. Oh, and then there's another one to dry. 말리다, I think. Be, feel, thirsty, dry. This one is really phrasal. It's not a single verb. So, roughly be thirsty, but a closer rendering, thristy. Really, throat, subject, and then a verb that means be parched. The causative of dry, I think, is 말리다. That may help us remember this. I have to write li for this one, 말리다. To stop from, be rolled dry also. Transitive, intransitive, dry out completely. So this one has a derivative. Dry out. And it looks like the root would just be, would also be malg, probably, or gamma, malg or something. So again, let's do them in order that you had them. Ask, 묻다, 물어요. Be far away, 멀다, 멀어요. Must be. To not know, 모르다, 몰라요. To bite, 물다, 물어요. No mutation, it's just the regular LR alternation. And be thirsty, 목이 마르다. That would be 말라요, I think. Right, my mouth getting dry, eyes a bit sleepy. Let's finish this one up for sure, see how I feel.
저는 먹으면서 노래합니다.
먹으면서, and that is while, the while form. 노래합니다, I do songs. I sing while eating. To be recommended. Yep, indeed they are. Okay, anytime.
저는 걸어서 가요.
Clears things up for me too. I had a bit of vagueness there in my brain. 저는 걸어서 가요. I go, and here we want sequential. I walk and go. Right?
걸어서.
On foot. Okay, I go on foot. Interesting, it treats it as a sequence of actions with the saw marking.
그래서 동물이 달려요.
yo. Just had a thought about verb morphology. Maybe it's really always, okay, leaving aside the perfective marked ones with the double S, maybe it's really the case that we always have stem plus a single ending. So in a case like 먹어요, the verb itself really ends at "a", and the "yo" is a sentence final particle. 먹다, 먹어, same number of pieces. 먹습니다, let's treat 습니다 as a single piece. Let's take it sort of as a, what do you call it, heuristic. Let's try that as a hypothesis for constructing a model of Korean grammar. 그래서, sequential. 동물이, animal subject. 달려요. 달려. This one means running. Then,
그래서
so, okay, not just sequential but causal. So the animal runs.
너 나에게 말하고 있냐?
너 나에게 말하고 있냐? Evidence for yo, the final particle. Exactly. You don't need a verb for it to attach to. It's signaling the end of a turn, maybe? End of a sentence. 너 나에게. Okay, I have trouble keeping these apart. You to me, right?
너.
You're talking to me. Okay, this is also a sort of sequential verb construction, or conjoined. And it's a verbal ha. That's why it's written together. 말하다, do talking.
말하고.
And, go conjoining. It and be there. Are you out here talking to me? Am I talking to you? Makes a lot less sense.
아이가 쓰고 읽어요.
아이가, child subject, 쓰고 읽어요. Writes and reads.
너 그리고 나.
너 그리고 you and I.
그래서 저는 공부를 합니다.
그래서 가서 here. 그래서.
그래서.
So, 저는 공부를 합니다. So I do study.
이 남자는 뚱뚱합니다. 그리고 저 남자는 날씬합니다.
날씬, slender.
날씬합니다.
happy 쓰다. Yes, doesn't it just? 이 남자는 뚱뚱합니다. This man is festively plump. 그리고 and 저 남자는 that man 날씬합니다. Is thin. Serene writer's smile there. This s syllable. There is a simplified character that's quite close. S-S-E-U. S. The one for 총, which means thicket. Let me get it phonetically. I don't quite recall the character. Okay, doing that again. Let me just get it here. Ooh, tempted by the four-corner input. Someday we gotta learn that too. 简体中文 simplified. 从 doesn't have the mouth. Mouth? We might be thinking of a different one. I mean this character. This is the reason that it's simplified this way, because 从 serves as a phonetic, but this exists too as a Chinese character. Like I said, a simplified one. Let's convert. When? Okay, that didn't do it. Good old Wiktionary. It's like it knows where it came from. This is the traditional. So it's going to be T-C, T-G-E maybe? T-C-T-E. Fascinating. So treat it as a whole character instead of top, bottom. There it is. Here's the traditional shape. Let's convert. Looks a bit like S, just asymmetrical.
그래서 저는 햄버거를 요리해요.
햄버거를. So where does it M?
햄버거를.
그래서 meaning so. 저는 햄버거를 요리해요. So I cook a hamburger.
저는 집에 가서 잠을 자요.
저는 집에 가서 잠을 자요. I go home and sleep. Meaning and then sleep. Alright, let us do an Esperanto and call it a night. And maybe a quick review. It's got a green flag. There it is.
सूत्राणि सूत्राणि अथ प्रथमोऽध्यायः प्रथमः पादः वृद्धिरादैच् अदेङ्गुणः इको गुणवृद्धि न धातुलोप आर्धधातुके इति च दीधीवेवीटाम् हलोऽनन्तराः संयोगः मुखनासिकावचनोऽनुनासिकः तुल्यास्य प्रयत्नं सवर्णं नाझलौ ईदूदेद्विवचनं प्रगृह्यम् अदसोमात् शे.
That's as far as we got. Good to review. Make a copy in our brains. People is our theme.
Estas nur 2,000 loĝantoj en la vilaĝo.
Nur, du. That's not you, is it?
Du.
Two. Okay. Nur du.
Nur du.
It is only 2,000 loĝantoj, inhabitants, I guess. Residents. Wow, how did I get so good? En la villaggio. So, looks, lodge and lodge are similar looking, but no connection. This one, to lodge, ultimately comes from a Celtic word, I believe. Laubia. Old French loge, arbor covered walkway. Laubia, from Frankish laubian, West Germanic laub. Okay, this one, I think I'm thinking of a different loggia. This one. Doublet, rather. Maybe I'm thinking of lobby. Is this also Germanic? Frankish laubia, Proto-Indo-European lobe, break off peel, damage. Never mind about the Celtic. Not this one, apparently. Frankish is Germanic. That reminds me, the names for France, Gallia and Gaul, that is I think the same root element as in Galatia, referring to Celts, and the name France from the Frankish tribe. Frank is the stem, and the ia for an abstract or place name suffix. Okay, it is only 2,000, and there are only existential sense here. So, like Latin, same verb for copula and existential. There are only, nur, straight from German. Where does that come from, by the way? It's the root of nur. In my dialect of German, the R will vocalize in that position. From older niwer, niware, niwari, were it not. Nor in Yiddish, ma. How is it cognate with ma? It looks like a fusion of... Okay, what's going on there? A W hardened to an M, it seems, according to this story. How unlikely. There are only 2,000 inhabitants, livers or dwellers, in the village.
La blindaj lernantoj havas bonan instruiston.
Blind students. Lernantoi, love that Germanic root with Romance affixes. The blind students, learners, pupils, havas, singular object, a good instructor, teacher, instruistoi.
Ĉu vi rekonas min?
Vi, meaning you, plural. Do you recognize me? Do you know me? Recognize. Reconnaître, very close to French. Remolded stem. Do you recognize me? Min is nice.
Mi rekonas la plimulton de la loĝantoj de mia vilaĝo.
Plimulton?
Mi rekonas la plimulton de la loĝantoj de mia vilaĝo.
Loĝantoj. Toi. So an unmarked object of a preposition.
Mi rekonas la plimulton de la loĝantoj de mia vilaĝo.
Mia vilaĝo. And note that the head noun of the object phrase is plimulto, the majority. I recognize the majority of the inhabitants of my village. A double de phrase. Noun phrases within noun phrases, nesting.
La spektantoj de la ludo estis multaj.
3 deep in that example. La spectantoi, spectators, the audience maybe, de la ludo, the game, ludus, ludum, also meaning school in Latin. Estis were many.
La loĝantaro de Usono estas pli ol 300 milionoj da homoj.
Pli ol, this is a prepositional one. More than 300 millions of people. Pli ol. So I'd say this pli might be the head noun in this case. Or not a noun, more than. La jontaro looks like a collective noun. Singular, referring to a group, a mass of people. The population of the US, estas, more than 300 million. Homoi, that gender-neutral Latin word. It's gender-neutral. The noun itself is masculine, but the referent, humans of any gender. A little confusing there. We use gender in grammar, but also for people's identities. 300 million peeps.
Ĉu vi partoprenis aŭ estis nur spektanto?
Verb. Do you take part? Ow. Is that or?
Oh.
Or were you only watching? Were you only a spectator? Ĉu vi partoprenis? That's past. Did you participate? Did you take part? By the way, these are calcs. Maybe, I don't know which direction it goes, but take part seems to be modeled, or at least is equivalent to parti. Kip is capere. Participare. I don't think this was a classical verb. This might be vulgar Latin or something. Parti, a combining form of partem. And kip is a combining form of capere, from have, hold. Okay, 1 second. Did you participate? Ow, or were you only a spectator, singular.
Kie estas la helpantoj kiam ni bezonas ilin?
Kiam, what's this? When. Who are the assistants when? Where are the helpers, servants? Helpantoi, assistants, helpers. When you need them. When we need them, of course.
Ili forestis dum la tuta semajno.
Guessing the whole week. Forestis. I don't think it has anything to do with forest. I think est, to be away. Forestis. They were away for the whole week. La semaine. La semana. So semaine is a little closer with that I. Spelled AI in French. Population de Usono estas pli ol 300 milionoj da homoj.
La instruisto alvenis post la lernantoj.
Arrived after the students. The teacher arrived after the students. They were away, forestis, during the whole week. Ili forestis dum la tuta semajno.
Kiu scias kiom da loĝantoj venis?
Kiu scias? Who knows? Kiom? When? How many of the inhabitants came? Venis. Did you take part? Ĉu vi partoprenis aŭ estis nur spektanto? So the V, even though it means plural, here gotta be a respectful form for addressing a single person because spectanto is at the end. The majority of the inhabitants knew about the game. La plimulto el la loĝantoj sciis pri la ludo. Where are the helpers? When we need them. Kie estas la helpantoj kiam ni bezonas ilin? Population of that country is rich. La loĝantaro de tiu lando estas riĉa. Do you need a helper? Ĉu vi bezonas helpanton? Which pupils are present today and which are absent? Kiuj lernantoj ĉeestas, being here, hodiaŭ, kaj kiuj forestas, which are absent. Very cool. Do you recognize me present? Ĉu vi rekonas min?
Kie estas la helpantoj kiam ni bezonas ilin?
It means we. Where are the helpers when we need them? I think Esperanto would be very helpful if you did not know a European language. Yeah, certainly a foot in the door, although you get the interference too. I'm pretty sure that there are, in fact, Chinese Esperantists and others from all over the world. But as far as that passive recognition, yeah, it really helps to know Italian, French, Spanish, some bits of Slavic might be helpful to know more. So we'll do that. I really was excited when I thought that there was Phoenician on Duolingo, alas. Alright everyone, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time. Good night.